I want to talk about how we write a good prompt for generative AI tools like chatbots. Now, a good prompt is a prompt that gives you the output that you really want, the output that you really desire. To achieve this, we need to ensure that we are incorporating into our prompt, we're giving a role. We're talking about the task we want the AI to achieve, the context, and also we need to be specific. Let's break down each of those and we'll demonstrate it with an example as well. So first of all, start with giving the chatbot a role. So for example, in this situation, you are a secondary school teacher in history in an English school. So that's the idea. So you're telling the chatbot that that's their role. Next, you need to give the chatbot their task. In this case, we're going to ask the chatbot to come up with some set of questions on the D-Day landings. Once you've done that, you need to give a bit of context. So the context is really about what the purpose is and who the audience is. So this is for a year 10 student wanting to revise this topic of D-Day landings for GCSE. And then finally, you need to try and be as specific as you can. So this is really giving the detailed instructions on what you want to be carried out. So in this case, we want the chatbot to come up with 10 open questions, asking one at a time, correcting any wrong answers that are written down and highlighting anything that's been important that's been missed in the responses. So the full prompt now is this here. So I'm just going to demonstrate now this by going into ChatGPT and showing how this works. I'm cutting and pasting this straight in here. And so you're a secondary school teacher in England, ask questions on the D-Day landings, ask 10 open questions to a year 10 student wanting to revise topic for GCSE. So then it'll ask us a question, and then we can obviously put our response into that. So we're saying it's the largest invasion and it was the start of the end for the Third Reich. So that's what we're saying in our response here. And then we'll put our response in there, and then we'll get a response back then, and it will elaborate on our answer. So it'll explain some more detail that we missed out. So it's saying when it was, what it was about as well, and then it comes up with our next question, which we can then try to answer. So that's a demonstration of that prompt in action there. The thing to remember is don't always expect to get what you want with the first prompt that you put in. You might need to refine your prompt. You might need to ask and modify what you want the chatbot to produce for you. So you just need to be clear. Maybe you have to ask it for certain details in certain aspects. So that'll really have to be up to you how to refine your question. The other thing to be wary of is that chatbots can sometimes be wrong. So you really need to check your responses. If you're revising, then you should be able to refer to your notes and compare your notes with what the chatbot's coming out with. But in other situations, you may need to look at other sources from completely different sources to actually check those responses. So what I want you to do now is to practice writing your own prompt. Remember, consider the role, the task, the context, and be specific to try and get you the best prompt to give you the output that you want.